Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning study. We're going to continue addressing this chronology of the 3 decrees. We're going to start moving into actually Nehemiah, but we might ask some questions. But anyway, let's have a word of prayer before we begin. Dear Father in heaven, thank you again for the time that we have each morning to open your word together. We ask for your spirit to be here once again, to direct our minds and draw our attention to the things that you want us to see. We pray for one another. We ask that the things that we study can be an influence for good, and help us to trust fully in you. Lead and guide in this study, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so I think pretty much as far as Stephen's study there that we did with the chiasms, that is, I'm just going to go to the diagram here again. So we talked about this yesterday as far as the structure of these chiasms is highly unlikely to have occurred by chance. I actually went through and did some probability assessments of all of this. So one of the things we noted is that people see simple things that are likely and they think it's some amazing coincidence, that it's evidence of design. But complex things that are not likely, they brush aside. And they try to figure out exactly why that is. So I've shown, not all of this whole diagram, but the main chiasms, just going through the Bible. I've showed them to a pastor friend of mine. He wasn't impressed at all, right? It was like, didn't mean anything to him. He didn't think it was interesting. He didn't see any significance in it. He said, I don't see how I could use that in an evangelistic series. It's too complicated. Just amazing stuff to me that people could do that. And then, of course, I've showed it to non-Adventists who are amazed, but, and I've showed it to some Adventists who see the sensibility of it. But it's either, what's that? Why is that showing up? There's some ducks. I don't know why that showed up. It's swimming across the lake. That's a video I took some time ago. I'm going to share this again. I have no idea why it moved. Okay. Oh, I see the picture, the file shut down. Just hang on. Anyway, I'll just go back to the Bible here. I'm going to look at it. I don't know what happened to the picture. So when it shut down, it just went to this other picture somehow. And that was a video. It's pretty interesting at the lake here at Telford Lake. All of a sudden, all these ducks, right at in the evening, they all of a sudden just all swam across the lake all at once. All these different types of water birds. But anyway, that was a few years ago. Okay, so when we look at what it is, I do think that there is a type of spiritual blindness that comes over people. That's the only thing I can conclude. It's not a nice thing to sort of think, but I remember Kelly's story about trying to get a guy to add the two 1260s together, and he just couldn't do it. And we've talked before that, God holds his hand over something. And there's obviously an aspect of it that has to do with our own blindness. It's not this that God doesn't want us to see something necessarily. We're not prepared to see something. And of course, we could just say it's not time to see something. So we just can't see it. It's not like God is wanting to withhold light from us particularly. But we can see that we can definitely withhold light from ourselves, that we can choose not to see. Now, of course, we understand how people perceive things, that, you don't notice things that you don't notice because you're not looking for them. You have no idea that they're there. Those details, I've used the example before, you buy a new car and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere, which you've never noticed that model of car before. So once something is drawn into your attention, then you begin to see it. And so, as we've spent time going through understanding the prophetic periods and understanding the symbolic use of numbers and these different dates, we can now look at the Bible with a fresh view. That is, we'll see things that we couldn't possibly have seen before. And so we can't necessarily expect that people are going to, all of a sudden, just because we explain something, that they're going to see it right away. But when we share something with someone else, we have drawn their attention to it. And I think that that is significant, that once we have drawn their attention to it, then there is an opportunity for them over time to start noticing these things if they're open, to what to God, to listening to His voice. They will see those things. Okay. Any questions about what we did yesterday as far as the chiasms? Those all make sense to people, hopefully. And I'm just trying to open some more of my programs here because they're not installed either. How do I do that? Let's see. I have to install this. Okay, well, let's look at Nehemiah. Start. So we know that Nehemiah was written by Ezra. And so Ezra is writing, the book of Ezra and putting together Second Chronicles and writing Nehemiah in this period of time, right, later on in his life. That's why when he talks about the decree of Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes, writing about it in the time of Darius, he can mention Artaxerxes because he's writing about it after Artaxerxes, in the time of Artaxerxes. And then we addressed this idea yesterday about the going forth of the commandment, the return of the people, and the building of the city. And we can say that the building of the city in Ezra's decree is that period of time in which he's setting up the administration, the magistrates and judges. But it would also include Artaxerxes' second decree. So we're going to read this here. There's a whole bunch of chronological things we have to address. I'm still trying to install some of this stuff on my computer. I have to type in. Let me see what I have to do. So sorry about that, but I'm trying to get this other stuff so that I can look at it because I'm trying to open up the PowerPoint. I didn't have it on the computer after we reinstalled it. Let's just start reading through Nehemiah and then we will see some of these details. Now, the words of Nehemiah, the son of Hachaliah, and it came to pass in the month Chislev, it says, or Chislev, which is Kislev, right? That is the 9th month, in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan the palace. So here he's in Shushan. That's in Persia, right? So obviously it's Nehemiah is in Persia. He's not in Babylon. And it's the 20th year of Artaxerxes, which we will see as we go through this, that Hanani, one of my brethren, came, he and certain men of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews that had escaped, which were left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said unto me, the remnant that are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. And of course, we know this is Nehemiah actually dealing with this part of the book of Nehemiah. So Ezra is putting together this book, but he's also using Nehemiah's own words here. So Nehemiah wrote this part of it. So we see that they said the remnant that are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. And the wall of Jerusalem is also broken down. So the wall of Jerusalem has not been repaired, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. Now we know that the temple was restored in 516, 515, but there isn't anything being done about the city. Now they did set up the administration in the 7th year of Artaxerxes, but they don't have the walls built. There's not a gate. Right? So this work needs to be done. Now Nehemiah, hearing about this, he says, it came to pass when I heard these words that I sat down and wept and mourned certain days and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven and said, I beseech thee, O Lord God of heaven, the great and terrible God that keepeth covenant and mercy for them that love him and observe his commandments. Let thine ear now be attentive and thine eyes open, that thou mayest hear, and the prayer of thy servant, which I pray before thee now day and night for the children of Israel, thy servants, and confess the sins of the children of Israel, which we have sinned against thee. Both I and my father's house have sinned. We have dealt very corruptly against thee, and have not kept the commandments, nor the statutes, nor the judgments, which thou commandest thy servant Moses. Remember, I beseech thee, the word that thou commandest, that thy servant Moses, saying, if ye transgress, I will scatter you abroad among the nations. But if ye turn unto me and keep my commandments and do them, though there were of you cast out unto the uttermost part of the heaven, yet I will gather them from thence, and will bring them into the place that I have chosen to set my name there. But these are thy servants and thy people, whom thou hast redeemed by thy great power and by thy strong hand. O Lord, I beseech thee, let now thine ear be attentive to the prayer of thy servant and to the prayer of thy servants who desire to fear thy name and prosper. I pray thee, thy servant this day, and grant him in the sight of this man, for I was the king's cupbearer. Okay, make sure I understand that. Guess he's just referring to himself. And then he says, for I was the king's cupbearer, I think is added. It's not part of the prayer. Okay, that makes sense. So we see this prayer, and it's going to be in the month Kislev, the 9th month. Doesn't say what date. Right? Now, he's going to pray and he's going to fast. There is no fast of the 9th month, right? There's a fast of the 4th month, the 5th month, the 7th month, and the 10th month. So he's not doing some particular fast. It's just he's choosing to fast here in the 9th month. Now then it says it came to pass in the month Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes the king. So again, it's in the 20th year of Artaxerxes in the 1st month. And this was the 20th year of Xerxes in the 9th month. So what does that tell us? Why do we have the 20, if Xerxes' reigns go spring to spring, Nisan to Nisan, because he's a Persian king, why is the 9th month before the 1st month? That is, what does it tell us? If Kislev is first and then Nisan is second, right, in this story in the 20th year.
So it's autumn to autumn count?
Yeah, so it's either an autumn to autumn count, which is the most likely thing, or it is a counting from when Artaxerxes began to reign. So there could be an argument that some people take that the Jews are counting the years of his reign just like we would count from any event. So whenever he became king, they would count it from that point. Now we noted, of course, in Artaxerxes' 7th year that it has to be a fall to fall count. We know that the 5th month is in his 7th year. The 1st month is in his 7th year. And his 7th year, he counts from the spring of 458, and so it would end in the spring of 457. And so some people have concluded that Adventists were wrong, that actually the journey is in 458, and so the 70 weeks would end in 30 AD, or not, in 33 AD, with the Christ being crucified in the midst in 30 AD, so then 33 AD for the end of the 70 weeks, which means you couldn't have the stoning of Stephen because he's stoned in 34 AD. And then, of course, the 2300 days that just completely have nothing to do with, the starting point of 458, right? So that's the general view of evangelicals and many Christians who are opposed to Adventists. They're going to argue 458. We know that that here we can see that they're counting the reign of Artaxerxes at least fall to fall. So if that is the case, this is going to be later, not earlier. They're not going to start his reign earlier. They're going to start it later. And so 457, when the first day of the first month and the first day of the fifth month would be in the seventh year of Artaxerxes. But the 10th day of the seventh month would be in his eighth year. Doesn't mention his eighth year, doesn't tell you anything about the Day of Atonement. And then the 20th day of the ninth month, it doesn't say it's in the seventh year of Xerxes. It just tells you about that it's the 20th day of the ninth month. So here we can see, again, this is a fall-to-fall count. Now, as far as the biblical evidence, this is the only thing that explicitly can tell us that they're counting the reigns of the Persian kings fall to fall. So as far as what our church has in understanding 457, they at least recognize this, what and scholars do. You're never going to hear this in a sermon, it's not very likely, and definitely not in an evangelistic series. You're not going to find this very often in books, even. It's just they will just say, 457 BC. They don't usually give the reasons. And we can see the problem that has made for the average Adventist. If he goes online and he starts reading anti-Adventist literature, and maybe he's had a bad experience with the church, and he now finds an excuse to leave Adventism. He's going to find problems with Adventism, because it's usually not as simple as somebody just intellectually decides Adventism isn't true. There's usually an emotional component in why people make decisions. Not always, but so I don't usually think it's that they come across some information and just, Adventism was wrong. People are usually going to spend some time trying to figure out some answers. But it would be helpful if the church actually educated its members when it comes to the prophetic periods. But of course, many in the church don't believe in the prophetic periods. Many of our administrators and pastors think that there's a problem with them. So you're not going to see that generally promoted. But anyway, so we're in the still the 20th year of Artaxerxes. And it's the month of Nisan. And it's not going to give us an exact date as far as like the day of the month, but we are going to find some exact dates in Nehemiah. Wherefore the king said unto me, why is thy countenance sad, seeing thou art not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very sore afraid, and said unto the king, let the king live forever. And why should not my countenance be sad when the city, the place of my father's sepulchres, lieth waste, and the gates thereof are consumed with fire? Then the king said unto me, for what dost thou make request? So I prayed to the God of heaven. And I said unto the king, if it please the king, and if thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me unto Judah, unto the city of my father's sepulchres, that I may build it. And the king said unto me, the queen also sitting by him, for how long shall thy journey be, and when wilt thou return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him time. Moreover, I said unto the king, if it please the king, let letters be given me to the governors beyond the river, that they may convey me over till I come unto Judah. And a letter unto Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the palace, which appertain to the house, and for the wall of the city, and for the house that I shall enter into. And the king granted me according to the good hand of my God upon me. Okay, so we can see this is in the month Nisan. He's going to be before the king. The king's going to see he's sad and ask him about it, and he's going to make a request from the king. Now he's going to end up then traveling to Jerusalem. Then I came to the governors beyond the river and gave them the king's letters. Now the king had sent captains of the army and horsemen with me. When Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, heard of it, it grieved them exceedingly that there was come a man to seek the welfare of the children of Israel. So I came to Jerusalem and was there 3 days. So again, we're going to have 3 days, right? Just as we did in Artaxerxes' decree, there's going to be 3 days. Now, why they choose 3 days? I mean, obviously God chooses it, but he's there 3 days, and it says, I arose in the night, I and some few men with me, neither told I any man what God had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem, and neither was there any beast with me, save the beast that I rode upon. And I went out by night by the gate of the valley, even before the dragon well, and to the dung, and viewed the walls of Jerusalem, which were broken down. The gates, in the gates of the gate of the valley. Wait, where did I go here? I went. Well, the gates thereof were consumed with fire. I skipped there. And I went on to the gate of the fountain and to the king's pool, but there was no place for the beast that was under me to pass. And then I went up in the night by the brook and viewed the wall and turned back and entered by the gate of the valley and so returned. And the rulers knew not whither I went or what I did, neither had I as yet told it to the Jews, nor to the priests, nor to the nobles, nor to the rulers, nor to the rest that did the work. Then said I unto them, Ye see the distress that we are in, how Jerusalem lieth waste, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. And come and let us build up the wall of Jerusalem, that we be no more a reproach. Then I told them of the hand of my God, which was good upon me, as also the king's word that he had spoken unto me. And they said, Let us rise up and build. So they strengthened their hands for this good work. But when Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, and Geshem the Arabian heard it, they laughed us to scorn and despised us and said, What is this thing that ye do? Will ye rebel against the king? Then answered I them and said unto them, The God of heaven, he will prosper us. Therefore we his servants will arise and build, but ye have no portion, nor right, no memorial in Jerusalem. Okay, so we know that he left sometime after the month of Nisan or in the month of Nisan. He's arrived at Jerusalem. He's been there 3 days. He's going to then do this inspection in the night. And Elisha the high priest rose up with his brethren, the priests, and they builded the sheep gate. They sanctified it and set the doors of it, even unto the tower of Meah. They sanctified it unto the tower of Hananiel. Next unto him builded the men of Jericho, and next to them builded Zachar, the son of Imri. But the fish gate did the sons of Asenaah, who also laid the beams thereof, and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof. Next unto them repaired Meremoth, the son of Urijah, the son of Koz. And next unto them repaired Meshullam, the son of Berechiah, the son of Meshezabeel. And next unto them repaired Zadok, the son of Baana. And next unto them the Tekoites repaired, but their nobles put not their necks to the work of their Lord. Okay, so the nobles can do anything. Moreover, the old gate repaired Jehoiada, the son of Asiah, and Meshullam, the son of Besodiah, and they laid the beams thereof, and set up the doors thereof, and the locks thereof, and the bars thereof. Next unto them repaired Melatiah the Gibeonite, and Jadon the Meronothite, and the men of Gibeon and of Mizpah, unto the throne of the governor on this side of it. Next unto him repaired Uzziel the son of Hariah of the goldsmiths, and next unto him also repaired Hananiah the son of one of the apothecaries. And they fortified Jerusalem unto the broad wall. And next unto them repaired Rephaiah the son of Hur, ruler of the half part of Jerusalem. Next unto them repaired Jedaiah the son of Harumaph, even over against the house. And next unto him repaired Atush the son of Hashabniah. Malachiah the son of Harim and Hashab the son of Ahath Moab repaired the other piece and the tower of the furnaces. And next unto them repaired Shallum the son of Lohesh, the ruler of the half part of Jerusalem, he and his daughters. And the valley gate repaired Arun and the inhabitants of Zanoah, and they built it and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof, and 1,000 cubits on the wall unto the dung gate. The dung gate repaired Malchiah, the son of Rechab, the ruler of part of Beth Hakerem, and he built it and set the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof. The gate of the fountain repaired Shallum, the son of Colhozeh, ruler of the part of Mitzvah, and he built it and covered it and set up the doors thereof, and the locks thereof, and the bars thereof, and the wall of the pool of Siloah by the king's garden, and unto the stairs that go down from the city of David. And after him repaired Nehemiah, the son of Azbuk, and the ruler of the half part of Bethzer, and unto the place over against the sepulchres of David, and to the pool that was made, and unto the house of the mighty. And after him repaired the Levites, Rehum, the son of Bani, and next unto him repaired Hashabiah, the ruler of the half part of Keilah, and his part. And after him repaired the brethren Baviah, the son of Henadad, ruler of the half part of Keilah. And next unto them repaired Ezra, the son of Jeshua, the ruler of Mitzvah, another piece over against the going up to the armory at the turning of the wall. And after him Baruch, the son of Zabiah, earnestly repaired the other piece from the turning of the wall unto the door of the house of Eliashib the high priest. And after him repaired Meremoth, the son of Urijah, the son of Koz, another piece from the door of the house of Eliashib, even unto the end of the house of Eliashib. And after him repaired the priests and the men of the plain. And after him repaired Benjamin and Hashab, and over against their house. After him repaired Azariah, the son of Maaseiah, and the son of Ananiah by his house. And after him repaired Binnui, son of Henadad, another piece from the house of Azariah, even unto the turning of the wall, even unto the corner. And Palal, the son of Uzziah, over against the turning of the wall, and the tower which lieth out from the king's high house, that was by the court of the prison. And after him Pedadiah, the son of Parash. Moreover, the Nethinim dwelt in Ophel, unto the place over against the water gate toward the east, and the tower that lieth out. And after them the Tekoites repaired another piece over against the great tower that lieth out, even unto the wall of Ophel. And above the horse gate repaired the priests, every one over against the house. And after them repaired Zadok, the son of Immer, over against his house. And after him repaired also Shemaiah, the son of Zechariah, the keeper of the east gate. And after him repaired Hananiah, the son of Shelemiah, and Hanan, the son of Zalaph, and another piece. And after him repaired Meshullam, the son of Berechiah, over against his chamber. And after him repaired Malachiah, the goldsmith's son, and unto the place of the Nethinim, and of the merchants over against the gate Mifkad, and to the going up of the corner. And between going up of the corner unto the sheep gate repaired the goldsmiths and the merchants. So it's going through this whole description of the repairing of the wall, all the different sections, right? All these different parts. Now, it'd be nice if we could visualize this. I wonder if I could find a diagram of it. Okay. Well, let's see how this looks. The visualization might help a little bit. Yeah, let's get this diagram. How good this is. It's a little blurry. Okay, so obviously this reconstruction, it's hard to know exactly how the city was laid out, right? Because you have different theories about some of the places where the walls are. So we can see that there's disagreement. Talks about that. So you got the old city of David, the probable extent of Solomon's city, and the new order. Now they say Jerusalem under Nehemiah circa 445 BC. So some people actually place the 20th year of Artaxerxes because they're going spring to spring, because it would begin in the spring of 455 and end in the spring of 444. And we know that according to Nehemiah 1 and 2, that would actually be fall to fall. So if it's fall to fall, it would go from the fall of 445 to the fall of 444. And so when Nehemiah is there in inspecting the wall, that's going to be in 444 BC. Okay. Now it's got scale in feet, so obviously, this is copyright some company C.S. Hammond and Company in New York, probably an old map. So you got the old city of David down here in the right. This talks here about the throne of the governor, which they mentioned, and these are the sections of the wall that are built. So they're going to go through each of these parts, going through and describing. So they're going to actually start down here, the Valley of the Gate, and show this. This is the inspection that is done by Nehemiah. So he's going to go along this part and see, that this gate is burned with fire and this part of the wall is all destroyed. Now, of course, there's much more of the wall. He didn't inspect the entire wall. Doesn't seem. He just did this lower part of the wall. That gives us a little bit of an idea. We could probably visualize to some degree that there's walls and it's going through step by step all of the different sections where people are working. Let's see if I can find that actually a different resource. That one's a little bit different, but this one I like just because it's got a little bit more description. So let's look at this. Okay, so they're going through here the description of this is the different Bible verses, right, going through this way. So when we're dealing with this, is that the Bible verses or just what's mentioned? I'm trying to figure out, let me see here. That's going to be the verse numbers. I'm trying to figure out what these numbers are. Maybe there's because they got all these little red numbers along here. Oh, the numbers indicate the 41 wall and gate sections mentioned in Nehemiah chapter 3. Okay, so there's 41 wall and gate sections that are all mentioned. So you can see some of these people have a pretty small section of wall, and some people have a much larger section of wall. So one could depend on the families, but also what needs to be repaired on a wall. So what needs to be done with that wall. It's hard to know exactly. So they have on the north, they have the fish gate and the sheep gate on the other side. So we got all these different gates. The old Jerusalem gate, the Valley gate, the Dung gate down here, the Fountain gate, the Water gate, nothing to do with Nixon. The Horse gate, the East gate, which is on the east. Inspection or the Muster gate. So those are all quite a few gates into the city. So when they talk about like the broad wall and Jehoiada's house, priests' houses, the token of the Tower of the Ovens, right? All of these different areas are mentioned. So this looks like a good way to, for somebody doing some personal study to go through and just do research on the different people who are building the different parts of the wall. Now, there's probably some symbolism in this that we aren't presently looking at, right? That is, this is a lot of information. And again, this is like our first pass through some of this. They don't quite have north going straight. And they got this position and direction of each view in each scene. So this must be from some other presentations. I'm not really sure. So there must be some way in which you would actually see the walls, the position and direction of view of each scene, so it doesn't show up here in looking at this. Okay. But anyway, hopefully that helps a little bit, just to have some visualization. Any questions about any of that? They have this cartoon, I guess it is. They show these. Yeah, so this is very visual, probably designed for kids to some degree, it looks like, but we don't need to go through each of the steps. But for some people, going through that, each of those and kind of visualizing where it is can be quite helpful. And there's probably lots we could learn by doing that. Okay. So when we go then to chapter 4, we're going to have to deal with this opposition. So they're assigned these different sections of the wall, or they've chosen them in some way, and they're going to begin building the wall. But it came to pass when Sanballat heard that we builded the wall, he was wroth. And took great indignation and mocked the Jews. And he spake before his brethren in the army of Samaria and said, what do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish that are burned? Okay. I'm not sure exactly what this mocking entails, like exactly. I mean, obviously, calling them feeble Jews, that's mocking. Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? So I'm not particularly certain about the sacrifice part because we know they have the temple already. Make an end. Well, they're going to finish it in a day. What are they going to do? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps? And that's to bring alive the stones of the rubbish which are burned. So where are they going to get the materials? They're going to build it with rubbish, right? Now, Tobiah the Ammonite was by him, and he said, even that which they build, if a fox go up, he shall break down their stone wall. So you got this Sanballat and Tobiah, they're just mocking, right? Fox could break it down. Hear now, O our God, for we are despised, and turn their reproach upon their own head, and give them a prey in the land of the captivity. Now, just want to make a note about the Hebrew numbers here. So we got this word turn, right? Shuv, their reproach. Now, reproach is a word we've run into before. It has the digits 2781. If you read it backwards, it'd be 18th July with the 2022, their own head, and give them for a prey in the land of the captivity. Okay. Now, head is also the digits, but they're grouped differently, right? So that is, you're going to have, instead of 2781, you're going to have 7218. So the 2 and the 7 are inverted and the 1 and the 8 are. So we have that symbol for July 18, 2020, which right now we haven't been really applying it to our history and how this works. But I do believe that we can take this fourth decree and definitely make an application to our time and what happened within the movement. Okay. And cover not their iniquity, and let their sin be blotted out from before thee, for they have provoked thee to anger before the builders. So built we the wall, and all the wall that was joined together unto the half thereof, for the people had a mind to work. But it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up, and that the breaches began to be stopped, then they were very wroth, and conspired all of them together to come to fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it. Nevertheless, we made our prayer unto our God, and set a watch against them day and night because of them. And Judah said, the strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed, and there is much rubbish, so that we are not able to build the wall. And our adversary said, they shall not know, neither see, till we come in the midst among them and slay them and cause the work to cease. Right? So they're saying this is what our adversaries are planning. They're planning some kind of an attack. We got all this rubbish, we can't really build. But it came to pass that when the Jews which dwelt by them came and said unto us 10 times, from all places whence ye shall return unto us, they will be upon you. So the Jews that are nearby are saying, they said unto them, us 10 times, right? So they told us this 10 times. Now, of course, 10 times is a symbol, and that you're going to, they're just going to come, they're going to return, shuv, and they will be upon us, right? They will return unto us. Therefore set I the lower places behind the wall, and on the higher places I set even the people after their families, with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles, and to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your houses. So they're ready to defend the city. They've set themselves up in a defense of the city while the walls are being built. And it came to pass when our enemies heard that it was known unto us, and God had brought their counsel to naught, that we returned all of us to the wall, every one unto his work. And it came to pass from that time forth that the half of my servants wrought in the work, and the other half of them held both the spears and the shields and the bows and the habergeons, and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah. However you say that word, habergeons. They which builded the wall, and they that bear burdens with those that laid it, every one with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other held a weapon, which doesn't seem like a practical sense. So I don't think literally they're holding this weapon in their hand the whole time while they're working with one hand. But they definitely would have their weapon ready. For the builders, everyone had his sword girded by his side, as it says, and so builded, and he that sounded the trumpet was by me. Right? So yeah, they say it's girded by their side. And I said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, the work is great and large, and we are separated upon the wall, one far from another. In what place, therefore, ye hear the sound of the trumpet, resort ye thither unto us, our God shall fight for us. So we labored in the work, and half of them held the spears from the rising of the morning till the stars appeared. Likewise, at the same time said I unto the people, that every one with his servant lodge within Jerusalem, that in the night they may be a guard to us and labor on the day. So they're all going to stay in the city, doing this labor and this guarding of the city. So that neither I nor my brethren, nor my servants, nor the men of the guard which followed me, none of us put off our clothes, saving that everyone put them off for washing. It gives us that detail. So they're gonna stay dressed. Obviously, they're gonna still wash. And there was a great cry of the people and of the wives against their brethren the Jews, for there were that said, we, our sons and our daughters, are many. Therefore we take up corn for them, that we may eat and live. And some also there were that said, we have mortgaged our lands, vineyards, houses, that we may buy corn because of the dearth. And there were also that said, we have borrowed the money for the king's tribute, and upon our lands and vineyards. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children as their children. And lo, we bring into bondage our sons and our daughters to be servants, and some of our daughters are brought into bondage already. Neither is it in our power to redeem them, for other men have lands and vineyards. And I was very angry when I heard their cry and these words. Then I consulted with myself, and I rebuked the nobles and the rulers, and said unto them, ye exact usury, every one of his brother. And I set a great assembly against them. And I said unto them, we, after our ability, have redeemed our brethren the Jews, which were sold unto the heathen. And will ye even sell your brethren, or shall they be sold unto us? Then held they their peace, and found nothing to answer. And I said, it is not good that ye do. Ought ye not to walk in the fear of our God because of the reproach of the heathen, our enemies? And likewise, and my brethren and my servants might exact of them money and corn. I pray you, let us leave off this usury. Restore, I pray, unto you I pray you, to them, even this day, their lands, their vineyards, and their olive yards, and their houses, and also the 100th part of the money, and of the corn, the wine, and the oil, that ye exact of them. Then said they, we will restore them, and will require nothing of them. So will we do as thou sayest. Then I called the priests and took an oath of them, that they should do according to this promise. Also I shook my lap and said, so God shake out every man from his house and from his labor, that performeth not this promise, even thus be shaken out and emptied. All the congregation said, Amen, and praised the Lord, and the people did according to this promise. Moreover, from the time that I was appointed to be the governor in the land of Judah, from the 20th year, even unto the 32nd year of Artaxerxes the king, that is 12 years, I and my brethren have not eaten the bread of the governor. So we know that there is 13 years from Artaxerxes' first decree to his second decree. Nehemiah arrives under the second decree in 444, and he's going to be there till 432, right? So he's going to be there for 12 years. Now it says here from the 20th even unto the 32nd, right? So the 32nd year, it's going to be 432. I think that makes sense, yeah. Okay, so to the 32nd year of Artaxerxes. Okay. Yeah, also I continued in the work of this wall, neither bought we any land, and all my servants were gathered thither unto the work. Moreover, there were at my table 150 of the Jews and rulers, besides those that came unto us from among the heathen that are about us. Now that which was prepared for me daily was 1 ox and 6 choice sheep. Also fowls were prepared for me, and once in 10 days store of all the sorts of wine. Yet for all this required not I the bread of the governor, because the bondage was heavy upon this people. Think upon me, my God, for good, according to all that I have done for this people. Okay, so he's going to have 150 people eating at his table, and he's going to have all of this food provided. Now it came to pass when Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem the Arabian and the rest of our enemies heard that I had builded the wall and that there was no breach left therein, though at that time I had not set up the doors upon the gates. Then Sanballat and Geshem sent unto me, saying, Come, let us meet together in some one of the villages in the plain of Ono. But they thought to do me mischief. And I sent messengers unto them, saying, I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease whilst I leave it and come down to you? Yet they sent unto me 4 times after this sort, and I answered them after the same manner. Then sent Sanballat his servant unto me in like manner the 5th time, with an open letter in his hand, wherein it was written, It is reported among the heathen, and Gashmu saith it, that thou and the Jews think to rebel, for which cause thou buildest the wall, that thou mayest be their king according to these words. And thou hast also appointed prophets to preach of thee at Jerusalem, saying, There is a king in Judah. And now shall it be reported to the king according to these words? Come now, therefore, and let us take counsel together. And I sent unto him, saying, There are no such things done as thou sayest, but thou feignest them out of thine own heart. But they all made us afraid, saying, Their hand shall be weakened from the work, that it may be done, that it may not be not done. Now therefore, O God, strengthen my hands. Afterward I came unto the house of Shemaiah, the son of Deliah, son of Methabiel, who was shut up, and he said, Let us meet together in the house of God within the temple, and let us shut the doors of the temple, for they will come to slay thee, yea, in the night will they come to slay thee. And I said, Should such a man as I flee? And who is there that, being as I am, would go into the temple to save his life? I will not go in. And though I perceived that God had not sent him, that he pronounced this prophecy against me. For Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. Therefore was he hired, that I should be afraid and do so, and sin, and that they might have matter for an evil report, and that they might reproach me. My God, think thou upon Tobiah and Sanballat, according to their words, and on the prophetess Noadiah, and the rest of the prophets that would have put me in fear. Okay, so I mean, there's lots of things that we can go over regarding this, which we're not going to do right now. But the one thing about Nehemiah here is he's not persuaded from his work. There's these gossip and rumors going on. He's not paying attention to them. He's not buying into the trap. He's not becoming fearful or doubting God. And then we have some chronological details here. So the wall was finished in the 25th day of the month Elul, which is which month is Elul? People know? Yeah. Nisan, Iyar, what's the third one called? Starts with an S. And then you have Tammuz, and Av is the 5th month, and Elul is the 6th month. Okay, in 52 days. So it's the 25th day of the 6th month, and they were working for 52 days. Now, when we studied this in the past, and we took that possibly the 3 days that are mentioned are included in the 52 days. We can't really prove that, but it would be 3 days plus 49 days to make 52 days. So whether the 3 days precedes the 52 days or whether he's including the 3 days, I'm not certain. But when we look at this chronology, so I'm going to bring this up, we can date possibly when he arrived at Jerusalem. So we can take, I have to put these dates in here. I don't think I have any of them in there. No, I should have saved my dates. Okay, so that's today. But that's interesting. So June 22nd was Pentecost. I forgot about that. Just because we're the same as 1844. So remember, in 1844, Pentecost was June 22nd, is the writing of his third letter, his Pentecost letter. Anyway, let's go here. So we're in 444. So this should be 443 or 444 BC. Then we know that it's going to be, if we wanted to deal with the month Nisan, right? So the month Nisan is going to begin on April 3rd, 444 BC. It doesn't tell us what day of the month it was. It just says it was in the month Nisan that he's going to look, his countenance is going to be sad, and Artaxerxes is going to notice this, and he's going to then make a request. Okay. So we got 444 BC, the first month. Now, if we go back, Nehemiah chapter 1 would be in the 9th month. So sometime between December 6th, 445, sometime in that's going to be the 9th month, you would have another month. So that month is going to go to January 4th would be the last day of that 9th month. So we don't know. But anyway, we have that 9th month going from December to January, beginning December to the beginning of January. And then the first month, Nisan, beginning April 3rd and continuing till May 2nd, right? Because May 3rd is the beginning of the second month, right? So if he's in the month Nisan, somewhere in there. Now, but we can nail this down a little bit more because we know we're going to have in the 6th month, so that's going to be here. So in the 6th month, in the 25th day of the month. So that's when they're going to finish the wall. Okay, so we'll save that date, and then we're going to go back, just go 51, just because we're doing an inclusive count. So it's depending on how that count is going, if he's counting like the number of actual days, And then either we would have here 3 days there, or the first day of the fifth month. So if you go to the first day of the fifth month, and we look this, so we would have, I'm going to go to the biblical date. So you got the first day of the fifth month, that would be 52 days plus 3 days. So 55 days inclusive. Here I have it as 54, right? If he's going to begin the 3 days as part of the 52 days, that would be on the fourth day of the fifth month, right? And then the 49 days, you can see there, counted from the seventh day of the fifth month to the 25th day of the sixth month. So I'm doing this as an inclusive count. If I did just a regular cardinal count, it would go to the last day of the fourth month. Now, you can see the reasonableness of this. So he's going to be there in the month of Nisan, and he's going to get to Jerusalem, and he's going to be there for 3 days. Now, whether Dwight's here listening or not, everyone wants to discuss this. So I still kind of prefer that there's 3 days and then 52 days, but I can see that it could have been the 52 days that he's counting could include the 3 days.
Right.
Right. So both are possible. But if he gets at Jerusalem on the first day of the fifth month, that is kind of interesting, right? And then there's 3 days, and then they begin building, and then he's finished on the 25th day of the sixth month. And that, of course, fits in with the time that it takes to go from Babylon to Jerusalem. Now, of course, he's going to be in Persia. He's going to be a little bit further because he's in Shushan the palace, right? So if it's obviously a little bit further than the city of Babylon itself, because that's south and a bit west to Shushan. But, it probably is not going to make a huge difference in the travel. Now, travel, of course, there's lots of things that can slow a person down. That's obviously generally a good time of year to travel from Babylon to Jerusalem. It seems that they do that a few times. They did it under Cyrus's decree, and they did it under, they're going to be a little bit different there because we don't know exactly when they arrived under Cyrus's decree. We know it's at the end of Nisan that the decree is given, and by the first day of the seventh month, when they set up the altar, they're obviously there already. I doubt they got there on the first day of the seventh month. So they got there probably in sometime in the fifth or sixth month, depending. Okay. Of course, in Artaxerxes' first decree, we know when they left, we know when they got there, first day of the fifth month. Now, in the story of Nehemiah, then it's possible here that he also got there on the first day of the fifth month, which would be significance as a symbol. Now, we got the 52 days. So the 52 days, the thing that we see with the 52 is what? So what was the significance of 52? Right? What was the significance you had of the 52 and the 3 and the 49 is how you did it?
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, and it's really hard to know where he's counting the 52 days, right? So, there are different options. So when he just says, so the wall was finished in the 20 and 5th day of the month, Elul, in 52 days. When we're reading this in English, it's going to be not necessarily the same as how they would think about it in their culture and how they're counting. Because he could just be talking about when he arrived at the city, that it's going to be 52 days. Or he could talk from when they actually started building. Now, the one thing that I would say about this is that we have the 3 days. So we know that 52 days either begins at the end of the 3 days or at the beginning of the 3 days. So we either have 3 and 52 or 52 that is divided as 3 and 49. Well, obviously the first day of the fifth month is significant as a symbol, and we could say, well, I like that symbol, so I'm going to choose that. Another person would say, well, the fourth day of the fifth month is what it seems like if we're going to count uh, the 3 days as part of that 52 days that he's counting from when he arrived at the city. But he could be counting from when he did the inspection, from the end of the 3 days. I don't think that, there would be the 3 days and then a space of time and then the 52 days is my main point. That is, the 52 days either includes the 3 days or follows the 3 days that are mentioned earlier. And now, because I reinstalled this, I don't have a bunch of commentaries on this to look at it. I have your scripture knowledge. It doesn't really say too much. When it comes to this 50, it's going to, let's check before, not sure why it gives us that. More, it's talking about will they make an end in a day. So it's about the mocking as far as you're not going to be able to get this built. Now, it's also interesting here, we got Nehemiah 6:15. It gives us this, the 25th day of the 6th month and the 52 days. And we know when we were looking at Ezra, chapter 6, and it's going to be in verse 15, that they say this house was finished on the 3rd month of Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of Darius the king. So is there any significance in this, that we have this verse, Ezra 6:15, where it talks about the finishing of the house and giving the date, and then we're in Nehemiah 6:15. And so the wall was finished on the 25th day of the month Elul in 52 days. Okay, so we got the 6 months. The 50. Is there any significance that we have 6:15 in both of these instances? That is, the temple being finished under Nehemiah's decree and the wall being finished here under Artaxerxes' second decree. Now, most people would just say, oh, it's just Bible verses are put there by man. But I would think that we would say there's some significance there, whatever it is.
How many verses are in between?
Okay. Usually Iran does that with his Bible calculator thing. I don't know. I think Iran could figure that out for us. How many verses between Nehemiah 6:15 and Ezra 6:15? Okay. Interesting question. Now, of course, we have the 25th day. If it was like the 25th day of the 5th month, it would have been, 525. It's the 25th and the 6th month. And then you got the 52 days. So you got 25 and 52 are inversions of each other. So I don't know if there's any significance we could see there. Okay. And it came to pass when all of our enemies heard thereof, and all the heathen that were about us saw these things, they were much cast down in their own eyes, and for they perceived that this work was wrought of our God. I thought. So we're just looking at the Hebrew here. You got this et, aleph, and tav. 3854 number, right? And then mim, the from, wrought, that is as a sign, from, out of, by, nearness. Okay, moreover, in those days, the nobles of Judah sent many letters unto Tobiah, and the letters of Tobiah came unto them. For there were many in Judah sworn unto him, because he was the son-in-law of Shechaniah, the son of Ara, and his son Johanan, had taken the daughter of Meshullam, the son of Berechiah. Also they reported his good deeds before me, and uttered my words to him, and Tobiah sent letters to put me in fear. Okay, so there's a lot of politics going on here, a lot of things. Now here it says, so Tobiah, who has been working with Sanballat, he's not a Jew, right? He's a Samaritan, isn't he?
Yes.
But he's the son-in-law of Shechaniah, the son of Ara. So that would mean that he married the daughter of, so this is, it says he Okay, and his son Jonathan had taken the daughter of Meshullam, the son of Berechiah. So I'm not quite sure I understand exactly the relationship. So that is, Tobiah's son Johanan had taken the daughter of Meshullam, the son of Berechiah. So it doesn't make sense being a son-in-law. It would be some kind of relation through marriage. Now, of course, they had dealt with the marriage to the strange wives. So I don't know if there's something going on here that shouldn't have gone on. Doesn't seem right. Okay. Did Iran figure out how many?
Yeah, that's what I thought. 250.
Okay, so 250. Okay. Now, why do you think that? You added it in your head?
And just looking, I mean, when you pointed it out that we could use the Bible indexer, I looked it up.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, the Bible indexer. Yeah. Yeah, so 250 verses between them.
So that's a quarter of 1,000. So a quarter of a day, one watch, if there's 4 watches per day.
Yeah, well, yeah, so we could also just take it and, like look at the number of months that there is. There's 8 months and 10 days between, if we take it as a symbol, right? As days. So we take the number 250 days would be 8 months and 10 days. But so I don't know if that's significant or not, but that's how I do it. But yeah, a quarter of 1,000. Okay. And I do think that there's something structural going on there with the dedication of the temple and the completion of the wall of Jerusalem. That is, we have in these decrees, we have significance in the second decree of Artaxerxes. Now, we know that Adventists just kind of look at the different decrees, Cyrus's decree, Darius's, and the 2 decree of Artaxerxes, and they choose Artaxerxes' first decree because, well, that you count the 490 years and you come to the right time. And Ellen White's quite clear that all 3 decrees are needed. But also we can see that the second decree of Artaxerxes has to do with completing something as well. So the decree of Artaxerxes, his second decree is really included in his first decree. That is, his second decree is completing something that wasn't in his first decree. But we would still count the 490 years from where you have the going forth of the commandment and the return of the people. And that's going to be from the first day of the 5th month to the first day, or the first day of the 1st month to the first day of the 5th month. So I think part of the problem, if we're going to look at how Adventists approach Scripture, how Protestants approach the Bible. So first, they're not going to look at the symbolic nature of things. For some reason, people they look at this as history that just is without any significance. People are not going to go through and look at Ezra and look for chiasms, right? We have these periods of 3 days. They're going to ignore those. Now, since we have these 3 days, part of it is we have to figure out exactly how these 3 days relate to the other 3 days. Now, we know it's going to be the 7th year and the 20th year. You're going to have 13 years apart, right? So you have all of this time between them. I'm trying to find what I'm looking for here. Okay. Let's see if I get. I got all these calendar converters open. I don't need that many open. Okay. So I'm going to go back to this. We just got like a few minutes here. So if we're going to compare these histories, right, we would go back to 457. So we're going to go 13 years earlier. And I'm going to go, so we've got a period of 3 days here. Okay, so
that's right. So we got this May 7th date, 457, 12th day of Nisan. And then you got 20th day of the 9th month. So when we put these different dates in here, obviously the 3 days are in different parts of it. So this is preceded by a period of 3 days. The 12th day of the first month is preceded by 3 days. The first day of the fifth month is followed, well, it precedes the period of 3 days. Okay. And then the 20th day of the 9th month follows the period of 3 days. So the 3 days precede that. And then we would say we have this other period of 3 days. So I just wanted to look at these different periods of 3 days and see if there's any significance in the spans of time between them in this 13-year period. So in this one, we're going from the first day of the fifth month to the first day of the fifth month. That's the center period of 3 days. So you're going to have 4,832. And so that's going to be seeing how long that is. So that's 13 years apart. You got a lot of, you got some leap years in there. So some extra embolismic years, because the average, if we divided that by 13, because that's 13 years apart, you're going to get 372 days on average. So that means we got a lot of leap years in there. Okay, that's all that's telling us. You get closer, if you have much farther apart, you're going to get closer to the average year.
Okay. Don't see any of these numbers particularly jumping out at me. Some of them look familiar, but I've seen a lot of numbers in my life. The 4779 reminds me of something, and the 4886, but I can't remember what. Anyway, so we got these spans of time exactly. We wanted to look at the number of months between the first day of the fifth month in 457 and the first day of the fifth month in 444.
Again, that was 4832. And we divide it by 20. What am I doing wrong? I see it's not. I did that wrong. I'm counting from the wrong day. It should be 4728. That makes more sense. So it ends up being 160 months, right, which is what you expect in 13 years. So it's okay. Any final thoughts before we close with prayer? I mean, there's a lot to obviously learn from this still, and we haven't finished Nehemiah. Okay, well, we'll come back to this at some other point tomorrow morning and see what we can find. Okay, let's pray. Dear Father in heaven, thank you for the time that we've had here again this morning, and we ask for your Spirit to be with us throughout this day, that we can contemplate these things and that we can understand them fully. Be with each person. May you watch over them and bless them. Bless our families and those that we have contact with. Help us to reveal your character to others. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.